In difficult times, even more than in easy ones, the voice of conservatism must make itself heard in the media. It isn't always easy, but of this we can be sure. While the Washington Times is alive and well, conservative views will never be drowned out. And if they are heard, they will prevail.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the One America News Network, Tomi, Lahren.
Let me first say, as a small-town girl from Rapid City, South Dakota, standing in front of you this morning is absolutely surreal for me. Wow, it's CPAC, I made it. And I have to say, the next president of the United States has been in this ballroom somewhere, and I say that with confidence because 2016 is ours. And some 22-year-olds idolize people like Kim Kardashian or Jay-Z, but myself, I'm more of a Mitt Romney or a Marco Rubio kind of girl. Yeah, I'm not like most 22-year-olds, but I'm guessing you probably already knew that because I'm here at CPAC. But I'm proud to say that I am a millennial, and for those of you that don't know what a millennial is, it's anyone between the ages of 18 and 33 years old, so I'm right in the middle there. And supposedly, we're all a bunch of hipster liberals that only care about social issues, right? Well, let me tell you, my millennials, they're starting to get it. And I will proudly be the bucket of cold water that wakes them up. So, you like being green, millennials? How about more green in your pockets? If you want that, you're gonna have to vote red. And for me, I'm a fiscal hardliner and a social moderate, and yes, we do exist, but the mainstream media and our buddies in blue are really quick to define the Republican Party. And they have a narrative they push so often, they've all but made it our official slogan. Yeah, according to those on the outside, we are the party of old, rich, white males. But I have a little bit of the problem with that because I don't really fit into that narrow box. Let's see, one, old. Well, I'm 22 years old, and rich, which almost makes me laugh out loud. I grew up in South Dakota, so that's smack dab in the middle class in middle America. And white, okay, you got me there. But unlike my friends on the left, I'm not gonna stand up here and apologize for being white, because I am what I am, and I'm sorry, you can keep your white guilt. And lastly, male. This so-called war on women is somewhat problematic for someone like me because last time I checked, I didn't hate myself and I'm not at war with myself. Ladies, can we agree on that? Anyone? See, women like Sandra Fluke will have you believe the only way to be pro-woman is to lobby for free birth control. But sorry, hun, I'm a Republican and I can take care of myself. And besides that, I don't know about you, but I don't really want the government anywhere near my body or my health choices, because have any of you seen how well Obamacare or healthcare.dud has been working out? Yeah, I'm good. But that brings us to the Democrats. Ladies, do they really love us as much as they proclaim to? Now, the various bills sponsored by Democrats and endorsed by President Obama actually do very, if little, for us at all. So in 2008, the great year of President Obama, it was the Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act that he took a lot of credit for. But ladies, it actually does nothing to end pay inequality. It just extends the statute of limitations for filing equal pay lawsuits. I don't know if you know that. So at the end of the day, it lines the pockets of trial lawyers because we all know they don't make enough already. But if you want to talk about a war on women, let's talk about how the policies of the Obama administration have hurt women and middle-class families. How? Well, I don't need to tell you guys this, but under this president, take-home pay has decreased, the poverty rate among women is higher, Electricity and the price of goods have soared. College tuition continues to rise. And oh yeah, thanks to Obamacare, health insurance premiums are going through the roof. I don't know if you guys have noticed that. But if you like your insurance, you can keep it, right? But if you ask me, this sounds much more like a war on women, on families, on the middle class. So, Mr. President, you don't have to buy my birth control, but instead, could you do something about the stagnant economy, maybe secure our borders, stop the blame game? That's how you support women. I know the women here know that. So I think we've gone through those. Old, rich, white males. I want to remind you, let's look at the top 3 Democrats for 2016. We've got Hillary, Elizabeth Warren, Joe Biden. Old, rich, white, and if the pantsuit fits, male too? I don't know, it's an interesting lineup. What do you guys think? But I will admit, the GOP, we do have a branding problem. Now, millennials, they flock to the left because the left is really good at telling them what we stand for. But I've had enough of that. Let's tell them what we stand for. Please. Now, I'm 22 years old, and I know I'm a rare case because I care about the issues. I don't just hear something and suck it up like a sponge like most millennials nowadays. Because if something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. My mom's told me that since I was very young. And that's kind of the premise of my show on One American News Network, On Point with Tomi Lahren. Hope you guys will catch it sometime. I'm really trying to get the millennials over to the red side, and I think we've got some good momentum going. But most of my friends only give a crap about politics a few days a year, let's be honest. And Tuesday, January 20th, and President Obama's State of the Union being one of them, because they hear the word free and middle class, and suddenly they think President Obama has their back. But I would like to remind my fellow millennials that there is no such thing as a free lunch. Thank you, that's a line that I say often because it's true, and that should be one of our slogans of the Republican Party, I believe. But for a generation like mine that was raised on internet pop-up ads, we should know by now that free generally means trap in most situations. Need I remind you, the government pays for nothing. Taxpayers pay for everything. So if you have a job, which I'm guessing most of you do, you're funding this stuff, and most of it's for people that don't believe they too should have to work. I have a problem with that. Furthermore, things like free community college, this is a big one for me. So this unicorn of a plan would give 2 tuition-free years of community college to everybody who's willing to work for it, according to President Obama. Isn't the premise of capitalism that everything is free if you're willing to work for it? Well, in this case, it's going to cost $60 billion, which I don't know if I have to remind you is not free. The federal government, taxpayers, will pay for 75%, and the states are on the hook for the rest, as usual. Another unfunded mandate from Washington. Lovely, right? And for the facts and figures, please don't forget that less than 20% of students enrolled in a 2-year program complete in 3 years. Why? Well, I know this better than anyone. College takes time and effort. And this plan is like calling free gas a free car. It's not the same thing. And it's also worth noting that Americans who earn an associate's degree still make less than the median weekly wage. Come on, Obama, he's not stupid, although some of us have our doubts. He knows this kind of incentive is better left to the state. He knows that another Washington mandate would be a mess to implement, and it won't pass Congress anyway. But he makes these empty, flashy, unicorn promises to get political points. Because if he says he'll take care of you and Republicans don't move on it, well, looky there. He's the good guy, and Republicans, once again, are jerks for being reasonable and having some foresight. And it was the same thing with Obamacare. Remember that? Yeah, all of the one-day-a-year political fans applauded that mess until it started taking effect, and then it was the Affordable Care Act. Let's not call it Obamacare anymore. If you like your health insurance, you can probably keep it. What about your job? Oh yeah, millennials, you can probably kiss that goodbye too, because with Obamacare, your work hours are going to get slashed. Many millennials don't know that. See, what's the one thing millennials hate more than anything else? And if you have children or you are a millennial, you know this. It's being told what to do. But let's remind them that that is the exact premise of Obamacare, being told what to do. The community rating provision, it prevents insurers from charging older, sicker people more than 3 times what they charge younger, healthier people. But here's the kicker, older people are twice as much expensive as younger people to insure. So of course, insurance companies, to avoid losing money, have to charge young people much more than the cost of insuring them. So it doesn't sound so good for us anymore, does it? See, millennials, we're not dumb. Most of us just don't take time to actually learn about King Obama's policies. And why is that? Well, because we have President Obama going on between 2 ferns with people like Zach Galifianakis, and suddenly whatever he says becomes cool, it becomes gospel. But how do we change that? I have a few ideas. Well, instead of being the party that's anti-everything, let's be the party that's for limited government. So-called net neutrality is a perfect example of this. So let's clear some stuff up right off the bat, because sometimes people refer to net neutrality. They refer to a whole swath of policy ideas that are not net neutrality. See, net neutrality is actually about how traffic flows through the internet, and it mandates that all traffic is treated the same. And advocates would tell you that the only way to do that is to, of course, regulate it. But that just means the federal government, via the FCC, will have its paws all over it. So let's get something straight. Can you think of a single time government regulation fostered innovation? Yeah, me either. The free marketplace does that. And our friend Ted Cruz coined it Obamacare for the internet, which is perfect. Enter more regulation disguised as net neutrality. I don't know about you, but do you want your internet to run at the speed of government? I certainly do not. See, our values are not just Republican or conservative values. We don't have to change our values to sexier or cooler ones. Instead, we need to change the tone of the message. Things like blocking Keystone, amnesty for illegals, cuddling up to Iran, and leading from behind. Forget hope and change. It's about time we have a president that puts Americans first. That's a novel idea. And maybe, just maybe, a president that believes in American exceptionalism. Does anybody sound good? I believe we're the best. I don't know, President Obama, maybe we should ask him, call him up. President Obama, if you don't believe that, maybe you should start enforcing the border, because there's a reason people are flooding over here. Thank you. So it really gets me when I hear about all these incentive programs for illegals, and they are illegals, they're not undocumented immigrants, let's call them what they are. Excuse me, I put myself through college. I paid out-of-state tuition with student loans that I'm now paying back because despite President Obama's policies, I was able to get a job. Thank you, One America. So I wonder how come illegals are raking in scholarships and getting in-state tuition with the so-called DREAM Act. It's more of a nightmare for hardworking Americans that can barely afford to put their legal, American-born kids through college. I know my parents went through that struggle. And what about domestic energy production? This is a big one for me. I'm from South Dakota, and you better believe I support my comrades up north, and I say frack, baby frack. Just a broad poll. Where do you guys want to get your oil from? The United States, Canada, or Venezuela? That's a tough choice, I know. We're really close with Venezuela, right? Now, President Obama said in his State of the Union that he wants to work with Republicans to get things done for the American people. But I don't know if you guys remember, the very first threat he made was to veto the Keystone Pipeline, which, excuse me, has bipartisan as well as broad American support. So work with Republicans? No, he sits on a throne of lies, and let's make that crystal clear to millennials, Americans, and the rest of the world. Thank you. Now, I'm a little bit different. Some of my fellow television right-wingers who I love get some kind of sick, twisted joy out of President Obama's mess-ups. And I get that. It's fun to talk about. But sometimes it seems like they actually want stuff to go wrong so they have something to bark about. But that's not me. If President Obama or Democrats in general do something I agree with, I'll admit to that. It rarely happens. It's yet to happen. But I can give credit where credit's due, and that's the difference with Republicans. But here's the thing. Our current administration is doing and saying things that will actually hit American families hard. And I say enough is enough. Now, I'm just a 22-year-old blonde from South Dakota, but I can promise you this much. I will continue to nail these issues to the wall and get my fellow millennials back on point, because in this country, we get on our knees and pray, and then we get on our feet and we work. God bless America. Thank you.